Hi.
Hi, Betsy. How are you?
How are you? I don't see myself on there, but that's okay. I see you.
Uh,
That's all that matters.
okay.
Jake, I
How are,
can't start my video.
oh, geez. Okay, here. Uh, duh, duh, duh. Oh, I'm just going to make everyone a co-host, and that should work.
Okay.
Betsy, I tried setting up this way so you could add it to your calendar.
Thank you, Jake. I think it happened. I think it did. Or maybe not. Let me see. Yeah, I did. It did.
Woohoo!
Um, I don't know if I should wait for the group, but I don't know if you guys saw this whole section in the New York Times on Sunday, December 28th, special section exploring the future of New York. Did you see it?
No.
I should send it out to the group. It's an entire section. And should I wait for the group to say what the different, because it's really amazing.
If you want to just, I think everyone is here now, but if you want to give a quick write-up and send it to me, I'm happy to share it with the rest of the group.
Okay, I'll find the link and send that to you too, because it was really interesting. It was about people, different categories and projecting for the future and and it was just a marvelous section.
Mhm.
It
That's
was,
great.
it was what to expect in the coming decades and all different categories. So anyway, I thought it was rather relevant for us.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. I think this is all of us today. It's 1:01, so we'll get started. Thank you all for
Oh,
joining.
okay.
So the goal of today's meeting is to hopefully wrap up all the engagement materials, which means the survey, the engagement video script, and the meeting in a box for outline guide. So with that, I'm just going to dive right in. And thank you all for taking the time to review these materials during the holiday season. I'm sure it was not easy.
Jake, can I ask a quick question
Sure.
before you dig in? So what's the next step after this? Is this group finalizing it and then the steering committee would then have a preview or
So
what's
the
the
steering committee has already seen many of these materials. The survey is based on the activity that we did at I believe it was an early November steering committee meeting or late October.
Mhm.
And then the meeting in a box asks the same questions. So our role here is really to just make sure that everything we is easily understandable, that it gets the point across that we want, and that we feel comfortable and aligned going forward so that, once we send this out to everyone, we say, yes, this is what the steering committee envisioned. Here's the feedback that they gave, and here's how these changes were made.
Okay, so just to be clear, we're not asking the steering committee to give us additional feedback. We're saying this is done. You basically outsource it to us to finalize it or
Yes. So this is the second round of review. So yes. And then at next Monday's meeting, agency will bring new materials, which is the housing activity. So where, how much, and what type of housing do
But
we?
uh, Jake, I'm
Mhm.
confused because why isn't that incorporated into the survey and the meeting in the box? That's what I was anticipating was going to happen.
So it will be into both.
Okay.
It'll be its own standalone activity in case somebody wants to do it. But what we will do is we're going to link it to the end of the survey and also include it in the meeting in a box so that once they have these discussions, they can say, I've done the survey and I want to provide a little bit more. I want it to give feedback on the housing discussion we had, and then they would complete the housing activity. The only reason it wasn't included in this package is because the agency wanted the full committee to see it first.
Okay. Well, we're not on the survey yet, but I have a lot of feedback then.
Okay, that's great to hear. That's what we're here for.
Okay.
Okay, So just going to share my screen. And then we will.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Oh yeah, same to
Happy-
you.
Oh yeah, this
Say
is
that
sort
to
of
you.
like full tilt running into it now. That's how it feels today. It's like everyone, okay, we're back. Get with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to remember to write 2026.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm usually good for about a month and then I slip back. That's what happens to me.
I did have a grandson while we were last time I
Oh,
saw him.
wow.
Yep, he was
Congratulations,
born
Wow.
maybe a week ago. I don't know. It's gone by very
Wow.
quick. Yes, my fourth grandchild.
Wow.
So,
Congratulations.
thank you. He's happy and healthy. Vinny De
Vinny.
Palma.
Vinny De
Right.
Palma.
Vinny De Palma.
Sounds
like
pretty
an-
Italian.
Sounds like an actor.
Leave the gun, take the cannolis.
Yeah. Okay, so just I wanted to first follow up with some outstanding questions from our last meeting. So we were discussing whether or not to post on X during our engagement phase. I spoke to Christina Metcalf, and she says it's proven to be a good resource, and that while the app may target specific demographics, Brookline that doesn't seem to correspond to Brookline, and it's pretty widely used. So we will do that. We do not use TikTok. I know we had considered creating TikTok videos. She said it's the opinion of the town that they are not willing to put themselves at risk. She has not used Blue Sky. She says there's not enough presence. And then Reddit, she says, is just too hard to regulate since it's all like community driven. She said we are able to use the town's text blast system, which should reach about 2,500 people. So that's a great way to do it. It won't be like the Harvard Kennedy study. It'll instead link to the full survey. It won't open at any specific time. It won't close until expire until the survey closes. And then we have Hootsuite, which I thought was pretty cool, which I clearly
What
was
is
too
that?
excited. I couldn't even finish my sentence, which is ... It's an app basically that tells you at what times of the day your social media posts get the most engagement, the most views, the most likes, etc. So Christina has all that information and is going to help me build kind of a posting schedule around that. And then Linda, you mentioned that you use YouTube pretty frequently.
Mhm.
So I spoke to Heather this week, and she's happy to let us upload videos, particularly short ones, to Big's YouTube account.
Mhm.
And then the last one is just with videos. Christina, of course, has her own work, so she cannot record too many videos for us. So we may need to do that on our own. She has, however, offered to teach what I like to call a master class so that we can all create our own videos, post them, or you can send them to me and I can post them. So that's kind of just closing the
So
loop on all the.
there was no mention in this list though about the townwide Facebook. What did we decide about that?
Christina says to go ahead. She
Oh, okay.
go ahead with that. It is what it is, kind of, but it's a very valuable way to share news.
So does the
The,
planning department have an account, a page on Facebook? I don't even know.
If we do, it's relatively inactive. We
Yeah.
primarily use Instagram.
Oh, yeah, right. Yep.
So
Take on number 6,
Mhm.
we're talking about, we were discussing last time about the idea of having like an introductory video
mhm,
to help like a meeting in a box, for example, to kick off a meeting.
mhm.
Is that what we're talking about there, that we're not able to do that?
No, so the meeting in a box kickoff video, we can still absolutely do. We can tie it into the explainer video if we need to. This is more just kind of like for social media. So maybe you would get on and say, hi, I'm Richard Murphy. I'm a cyclist in Brookline, and I'm going to be at the Putterham Library between these hours on this date. Come find me. Come say hi. So
So we weren't able to do something like that.
we would just have to do it more on our own.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for explaining.
Yeah. And the video script. So Linda sent me, first, Janice sent me a few comments that actually aligned pretty well with Linda's. So she flagged that in the current path, the equation of modest housing growth and affordability may not be entirely correct. And then she believes that the land cost is high enough that developers want to build luxury housing.
Mhm.
And then she, of course, mentions fiscal sustainability. So I have here,
Oh, gosh.
and Linda, I made a few comments to yours.
Mhm.
So thank you for getting them to me. So
Yeah, I'm sorry it wasn't sooner, but it was a big ask over the holidays, I gotta say.
absolutely, and I understand that, and I'm grateful you did it, so thank you. So I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at the original second version of the script, but this
Your
is
second version.
my second version,
Mhm.
the one I took a stab at. Thank you. But this is Linda's, and I actually think it's very, very well done. So, Betsy and Richard and Paul, would you like to take a second to read this?
I can't read that.
Oh, sorry. Here, I can
Okay. Okay,
just let me know when you need me to scroll.
that's fine, thank you.
Would it be easier to show them the, well, you put comments on here, so that's not good. I was gonna say, I've sent them a clean copy as well. It might be, it's hard to read this, I think, sometimes.
I need
Okay.
to see the changes. I think it's okay.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
Yep.
So some of this is just phraseology, right? So what's the substantive changes? Are there like concepts that changed?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you went too far. Didn't
Oh,
read
sorry.
that.
Okay, sorry.
Principles. Good. Okay. Yeah.
What did you mean by sustainability the first time, Jake?
In which
Where it says key features such as,
oh, that was Linda's. It was just a typo that when
Yeah, it
I
was,
noted. So
I
just
misspelled fiscal sustainability. I mean, Jake did have it in his
I'm
version
sure I did.
oh, he did.
somewhere.
Okay, he did have fiscal sustainability.
But I made it a statement about what key features were identified as core values and
Mhm.
sort of went from there and including things. I think I added things about quality of life. I added about community cohesion. It had said something like building community. I wanted to make it more specific. And also the protecting historic and cultural assets had not been mentioned.
Thank you for doing that.
Do
Mhm.
people understand what improving mobility means? Do you think?
I would think so, but I'd be interested to
Mobility,
hear
I'm
from
just curious.
someone
Do
else. Yeah.
people equate mobility with driving, walking, biking, pedaling?
Mhm.
Probably not if they haven't been on a committee.
Yeah, that's
How
all.
about
I'm just like, what do you mean
improving,
by
like-
mobility?
How about improving mobility, I want to
How
say
about improving
options, but
transportation options?
How about the ability
Transportation
to
options?
or the ability to get around? Well, that's probably too primitive.
I don't
Well,
want to wordsmith it,
Yeah.
but just the mobility is a word that people are like, what are you talking about? They may just think, what are you talking about? Are you just talking about cars? Are you talking about
Yeah.
I almost like
and
when
improving all
you
forms of transportation or something like that?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
When we say at the top there, we say such as fiscal sustainability, but also like transportation sustainability.
Well, that
is, you know,
comes in later.
Yeah.
Anyway, just something to think about.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting.
Yeah, I
do it
think
right
it's a
now.
good point.
I
I liked whatever
mobility is
somebody
an
said.
insider term for
Yeah,
sure.
improving all forms of transportation or something like that would be
But
fine.
transportation isn't the same as mobility because,
Yeah.
walking is also mobility. So it doesn't,
improving
Are we
the
talking about
public way.
improving the safety of our streets?
Well, the public
Well,
way,
that's
Paul.
different.
Mm, Yeah, I would agree.
We may be stuck with mobility.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I would say
just
let's
raise it.
flag it. Let's ask
Just
Jake
flag
to
it.
cogitate on that
Yep.
and move on.
Sounds
That would be
good.
my suggestion.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said, let's not wordsmith it, but it's a
Yeah.
word that is insider.
Okay, and then yes, as Linda mentioned, protecting historic and cultural assets, which I think is important. Linda, I like the sentence, but I thought it was just too complex for the purpose.
Yeah,
so
I struggled with it. That's okay. Go for it.
I did too. I was like, no, this makes perfect sense, but how do I make it a little bit simpler?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And then the current path.
So
this
that
kind of-
whole, just
yep.
throwing that in, like, how are we trying to develop these futures? We hadn't really tried to explain that before. So this is all new to the script.
Yes, it talks more about the process,
Mhm.
which I think is helpful.
Like future land use strategies.
Yes.
Rather than scenarios. Yeah, that's also an insider term, isn't it? We know what we mean, but
No, that's not going to work. Oh yeah, strategies. Great. Okay. And then here's, I think, where Linda did the bulk of her editing, these next few paragraphs.
Okay, so where was the piece of, oh, that's okay, I'm all right. The next section is the one that I had a thought of.
about the park space, it's all kind of part of this. We might want to break this up.
Do we want to switch out scenarios with strategies again? So we're consistent with the term.
But it's not really a strategy. I mean,
It's the, yeah.
it's the sort of do nothing option. It's kind of what it is in some ways. Like, if we change nothing, this is what we think is going to happen.
Yeah. So Linda, one of the concerns I have is where you're overlaying, and you and I agree on many things, but I can see you overlaying your perspective and values in this section that others may not. So there's a whole, as you know, there's people in this town that believe that out of scale development's not a problem. They actually encourage it. So I think we got to be careful here. Unpredictable, potentially bringing undesirable outcomes
Well,
such as
see,
out of scale buildings.
This is taking me back to that day we had one of our internal meetings, I think. No, maybe it was a steering committee meeting, and Kara goes, yes, this is reminding me why we're doing the planning work, because people don't like what's happening now. And so I think not talking about that at all. I agree with you. There'll be people who don't care about that stuff.
Well, we don't know, but I guess the reason why I raise it is
Yeah.
we haven't defined what out of scale means. So there's a whole group of people that think 14 stories on Route 9 in Chestnut Hill West is not out of scale, it's in scale. And then there's a whole group that think it's out of scale. So there's just needs to be a way.
It's not in scale. There's no way you can say it's in scale. I mean, you can say, I don't care that it's out of scale, but you can't say, I mean, just objectively.
Well, that's my point, is that you're saying it's that bringing an undesirable outcome is an out of scale building. Some people don't think an out of scale building is an undesirable outcome. That's all. I'm just saying, as a committee, we shouldn't be overlaying our values on this too much. You're leading the I think we need to rephrase what you're trying to get at here.
It could say bringing outcomes such as tall buildings, and then people can judge whether they like them or don't, without saying undesirable outcomes. Bringing, outcomes such as tall buildings.
Well, it's not just tall. It's like what we see with the 40Bs, with it's like right up to the edge of the lot. It's wedged on a lot. There's ways of being out of scale that isn't just height, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. We have to talk about, I just think it's a selling point for being intentional.
Okay. So
And,
let's,
and
so
what I'm,
let's try to
and that's
get at
why I
that
start,
without-
yeah,
yeah.
so I start the paragraph by saying pros and cons, right? Pros and cons. So the pros are, you know, it won't be overwhelming amount of growth or whatever it is we want to say about that. But the cons, I felt like they needed to be stated. And I hear what you're saying about not making value judgments.
Yeah.
So, but I think it needs to be said because it's one thing to say, well, it's modest growth, which may or may not be actually true, but it's another thing to say that to actually try to describe the ways that things are happening that we don't
Yeah.
necessarily intend. We don't, you know, it's like the building on Aspinwall Street that everybody points to. Like, had we been intentional about future growth, that wouldn't have happened. We would have had better zoning there and it you know, that kind of stuff. So
I think it should
doing
be somewhat-
nothing,
Try to get it to be more neutral. I mean, basically call it out, but, you know, pros and
Mhm.
cons about development sizes, tree canopy,
Yeah.
you don't actually steer the statement in any particular direction, but you kind
Yeah.
of call out subject matters.
It's just the whole thing that this whole paragraph needs to be simplified to get across that the most important thing about this scenario is that it's unplanned. It's not intentional, right?
yeah, and it's
that-
unpredictable, like that
it's
first
unpredictable.
sentence.
And
Yes.
for me, the biggest issue of unpredictability has to do with affordability. You're going to get nothing but luxury,
Mhm.
right?
But you're
what
going to
gonna
get demolitions.
You're gonna get demolitions. You're gonna get luxury. So I want to just be careful with.
What if we just at least said that some find undesirable, even if we, you know, maybe we could at least couch it.
Well,
I mean, I don't want to dodge the question altogether. I think
no,
that's
I'm
a
not saying I don't want
disservice.
you to do. No, but the thing we have, what you don't. This is my concern.
Mhm.
My concern is someone's going to go back and say, "See, that's Paul and Linda putting their thumb on the scale to keep stuff." You know, that's what this sentence could potentially create as a reaction, and that's what I'm trying to avoid here. Is there a way to simplify this without without it making it seem like, you know, we're trying to influence the outcome based on what we value versus what others may value? That's what I'm trying to get at. So I don't like the word bringing undesirable outcomes, right? Because once you start doing that, you have to define an undesirable outcome, and I don't think there's consensus on what an undesirable outcome is.
As much as we talk about luxury condos, I know that they have to contribute into the affordable housing fund, So, I mean, as much as there's a pro and a con to that,
Well, only if
Yeah,
they're
only
over
if
a number of
it's-
a certain number if they meet the minimum threshold for
Yeah, I'm not.
inclusionary zoning, Richard. You know,
yeah,
it's not
well,
an
I mean,
automatic.
if they don't do any affordable housing within it, they can
Right, they
No,
can buy
have to
their way
pay
out of it.
They can buy their way out of it, but importantly, if it's what's inclusionary zoning?
Yeah, buy their
6,
way
5?
out of it.
15%,
Yeah, no, but what's the number of units
4.
before you have to do it? Is it 5 or 6?
5. If there's 4 or more, I think.
Yes, I think you're right.
But I
So-
mean, you know, you can argue about how affordable the affordable is, and then the other units become higher priced to make up for that. So you know, are we really gaining or are we on a hamster wheel?
So, Chick, what did this thing say originally? Is it the black?
The black, let me.
Oh, there are benefits
Yeah.
to this approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like some words are missing.
Well, it was about modest growth and
Growth remains relatively limited, meaning some neighborhoods would see gradual change rather than dramatic transformation.
yeah, I mean, I don't think we've defined enough about locations to make that claim necessarily.
I don't know, that felt more diplomatic to me.
What, the first paragraph?
The way Jake just read, what Jake just read it out, what was taken out.
There have
Yeah,
been,
but it doesn't say anything. I'm sorry.
That's part of the rationale. Is to be neutral, you know?
Well, but there's got to be, I just feel like we need to sell the idea of the benefit of being intentional. And in order to do that, you have to say something about what's bad about not being intentional.
But that's a perspective of whoever is,
Well, then we might as well all just go home and give up
I mean,
because
isn't that part of doing the public engagement is to get their feedback by conducting themselves with the surveying? That's where we're trying to give them the framework, keep them open-minded and not try to tilt them in any which direction so they think clearly and freely.
So let's take a step back for a second. What are we trying to, what are we trying to educate? What do we want the reader, the participant, the survey and the workshops? What do you want their takeaway to be with this portion of the introduction, Jake? What are you trying to get at?
yes, so that what I would want them to take away is one, that there is a current path. We could follow it, but it comes with some inherent risk. And those risks we're kind of more aware of. One thing I was thinking about with Linda's, I'm wondering if we could, after unpredictable, say something along the lines of like forcing the town to be reactive instead of proactive.
yes, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That would be great. That is what's wrong with what's happening right now. It's running to put out the fire every time somebody comes with a hideous proposal.
Yeah.
It's
Or any
exhausting.
proposal.
Or a proposal. Yeah, it's exhausting. It's
Guys, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to run out of time. We're not
Yep.
going to solve this right now. We're wordsmithing as a group. We're not going to be able to do it.
Great.
I think this this thing, Linda,
Mhm.
needs work. I'm happy, I don't want to wordsmith it. I think we need to be able to say it without making a value judgment, right?
Mhm.
And maybe you reference and say, from the survey we've heard, can you reference what they told us before, right? What has the
Mhm.
prior engagement told us about what people want? Have they said they're concerned about affordability?
Yes.
Okay, so the unpredictable nature will result in luxury units. They concerned about, out of scale buildings, losing historic structures,
Yes.
right? So I think we just need to reference, you need a reference point. So it
That's a
doesn't
great
seem like
idea.
the committee is
Mhm.
placing its value on these things. So I'm just going to suggest that this thing needs to be whittled down. It's probably a sentence or two. There's too much here.
Well, there's the whole bit about the open space is the second part of the paragraph. And, we might want to ask Betsy and Richard what they think of this because it's a little bit hairy.
Where's the second? So this is while
So it says
areas
while
experiencing-
areas, blah, blah, blah. Right in the middle of the
growth.
and where it says active centers, while areas experience the most growth.
Yeah, I'm less concerned about that one than I am about the first portion.
Well, do we need to bring it up at all?
About the open space.
Yeah, I mean, because it is a constraint, I think.
That's an odd term, seriously constrained park and recreation space.
Oh, it says severely constrained.
Yeah, it's an odd.
I mean, but either one of Linda's, we spoke on the phone earlier, anything that we do in the future, our parks are already constrained, right? The kids are bumping into each other during soccer practice or baseball practice and volleyball practice. There's just we don't have enough green space. That's it. So I don't know if necessarily you need to overlay that here.
Well, I was concerned because Jake's version seemed to imply that the level of growth in the current path is not going to cause crowding or a problem or however it was talked about. It was you know, like, yeah, we're adding 1,400 people, but we think we can,
Okay.
you know, absorb that. And
So- Yeah. So why don't, the problem that I have with the current scenario without any change is that it's going to be unplanned and unpredictable. We don't know
Mhm.
where it's going to be. We don't know when it's going to be, and therefore we are being reactive, right?
Mhm.
So we could see a ton of development in an area that the parks are already, completely overtaken.
Mhm.
And for a number of reasons, it might be because people are traveling there, because it's close, it's on the border of Boston, or maybe there's just a lot of people, or it's the only park that can handle lacrosse. I think if we can stick to this idea of the value of accessible green space and being able to plan for its capacity and use is something
Yes.
that we need to have.
Right. It's intention. You're
Yeah.
right.
Great. Yep. I can definitely take another stab at this
Yeah.
and
I think you have
look
enough
it up.
feedback, Jake, to maybe whittle it and see if you can come back.
Absolutely.
Okay. I agree with crossing out housing growth would remain modest, making affordability a continued challenge. Taking that out's a good idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
hmm
Mhm.
This look good to everyone?
Mhm.
So Jake, can you go back for just a second?
Yes.
So why do we need the looking beyond the current path? What does that, um, I actually think like this little paragraph here
mhm.
Mhm.
is a great, it could almost replace the thing above it. You know, like you know what I'm saying? That is the look, when you say looking beyond the current path,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah, it's a little confusing, the sentence saying fewer large luxury units. I think you made fewer units because they're large, but it gets a little lost. It's a little confusing there. Jake,
Yeah, I
just,
can definitely
yeah.
retool. Yeah, this is
As
more.
far as a topic
oh, I
area.
see. Okay, I now understand why what this transition says. This is addition. So you're adding additional before it was the positives of the current path. This is kind of the negatives. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yes. It was intended to be, I guess. But then it might need another sentence or two talking about, um, the positives of perhaps looking at a higher level of growth.
Yeah, so it looks like what Linda did was she added the risks and limitations above, and this is a continued list, right?
hmm Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean, if you wanted to, I'm not suggesting you do it, but what if you just had a pro and con list and bullets of, you know, people could scan it quick. Does it need to be lengthy? Oh, it's a script.
It
Sorry.
is. So they'd have
I
to
forgot
read
it's a
them
script.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot it's a script.
This is
Well,
a,
I think
there's a script. This is tough to deliver. It'll be tough to deliver. It's very dense.
mhm.
Yeah. So I know I'm just saying you have a transition issue that above there's a bunch
Mhm.
of negatives, and then you're saying looking beyond the current path, here's some additional negatives. So that just needs to be
Yeah.
fixed.
Well, I think somehow working in this idea about locating growth where we have the capacity, it needs to get filtered in here somehow. To Paul's point about if we let it be random, we could be overwhelming some facility because it all ends up
Yeah.
there, all the growth. But if we're intentional, then we can say, well, look, the Waldstein Park, they're not very heavily used or whatever,
Yeah.
and being able to direct growth where we have the capacity in however you want to talk about that. Schools.
Jake, have you received any guidance from either the consultants or maybe Heather or Big about how long this thing needs to be? Because it's getting like, I could see people going, he's droning on and on and on, or whoever's going to read it.
Yes.
Um,
So I sent it to Heather, the first version, and she was like, we can make this video, but it's looking like it'll be 10 minutes long. So this is the revised draft that's shortened down to 1.5 pages, I believe.
Okay.
I think it needs to be shorter.
Shorter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
And a lot less wordy. You know, we don't need to have every single word. It doesn't have to be as
Yeah.
specific.
I think the concept is that on the current path, it's unplanned, unpredictable, and we're reactive. And that could result in a lot of luxury units, more crowded parks, right? Limits on community engagement for specific outcomes that they, I don't know what you want to say, but
Strained facilities and infrastructure.
keep it simple. And then go to,
That was
right?
that was a really good phrase. Jake, did you get that, what Paul just said?
Which part of it?
What he just said, just
Mhm.
that, it's like in one sentence, it was just really clear.
Rewind that.
Sorry, I don't listen to myself when I talk.
Yeah.
So once it's out, it's gone.
Okay, but
Wait.
Rewind the tape.
it's
Yes,
recorded, so we can find it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But
let's simplify it again. I think Richard's right, or maybe it was Betsy. We don't have to have every single word in consideration in this. Remember, this is an introduction to
Mhm.
get people to want to take the survey and understand what the survey means. Like this should be, why do I want to take the survey, and why is it important for me to think about it, and what do I
Sure.
need to be thinking about? That's what it's about, right?
Yep.
What the script is for.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I think this last sentence is like the most important to highlight and just kind of build it
seems
back
to
on that.
be
Mhm.
what we're tripping over is everything seems to be around buildings. But obviously, one big piece that we're looking to achieve in the near future is mobility. So it just, not sure if we can, if we use fewer terms, if we somehow merge that in with the terminology, because it seems to be always like everything around constructing of buildings and everything. But, mobility is, probably the number 2
Mhm.
item on the list,
Mhm.
in my opinion. But that's just my thinking, whether it's,
Okay.
whether it's the senior center bus, South Brookline looking for a shuttle bus system to develop, or bicycle infrastructure, pedestrian crossings, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I have an idea of how to rephrase this now, so let me take a stab at it tonight, and then I will send it to you, and we can review asynchronously.
Yeah,
Excellent.
we're gonna drive Jake crazy if we try to wordsmith.
No,
it.
all
Yeah.
good.
And we don't want Jake to go crazy.
No.
Too late. Oop,
So we're
okay.
jumping to meeting in the box. Oh, no.
We can absolutely go to survey first if that's what
Okay.
you.
Well, I guess I didn't even get to the meeting in the box. So whatever you need to tell us about that.
Yeah, it was mostly just review of materials. It had all the boards, which you have seen for the most part
Mhm.
at the last or the November steering committee meeting. So there's nothing new here. I was just mostly asking for you to review the kind of cover sheet and provide any feedback, whether it's easily understood, whether it raises any questions that I may not have considered, whether you think we could hand this to someone on the street and they would be able to lead or facilitate a meeting in a box.
Jake and Paul and everybody, do we want to mention, I know I just mentioned about mobility, but
Mhm.
is it more important to mention Vision Zero as far as roadway safety and everything?
I'll take a look at it and see what fits in naturally. I do like
Yep.
mobility, I think, over Vision Zero, just because I know Vision Zero has some
Yeah.
Legs to it.
opponents.
Yeah, got it. No, okay, just wanted to throw it out.
If you thought mobility isn't understood, Vision Zero is. You're talking about blind people? I mean, what do you?
Yeah.
Well, do you want to hear what I thought about the survey?
Let's
let's
do
go to the
that.
survey.
Just because I did try to check out the survey without actually filling it out. I don't know if I succeeded, but I was sort of disappointed in that the questions being asked were, do you want to see these kind of buildings, like what we did in the room? You know, like put your little ball in the cup where it says mixed use development. We had a lot of people put their thing in there, but there was nothing other than defining it for an area, and you have 5 areas. We're talking about an entire area. We're not saying how much or how big or how many units or anything like that. So that whole piece that I think is really critical for people's comprehension about what scale of new growth are we talking about gets lost.
I see.
I also think there's too many questions, too much to go through, too many areas, too many strategies. It just was overwhelming. I wanted to bail immediately. It was like, oh my God, I have to do this for 5 areas. It just was way, way too much to ask an average citizen to look at the materials and digest all that and then come back. I think we just need to really hone it down to get meaningful feedback. And I don't want to get feedback that, you know, all the housing advocates check all the housing boxes, and this we already know, but they're not grappling with the, well, okay, is that 5 towers on Beacon Street more? Is it, where is it? How big is it? What does it look like? You know, all of those questions. And, you know, then what are the resulting impacts to the area that we just were talking about locating where we have capacity and all that? That's not even factored in here anywhere. So I'm feeling like if we went forward with this survey the way that it is, we would not get very meaningful feedback.
So I hear what you're saying,
Yeah.
and I do think next Monday's meeting, a lot of these things will be revised or, you know, explained in a
Mhm.
different way.
Mhm.
For example, the capacity analysis, RKG is doing that now for the districts for the
Mhm.
housing activity. To me, it sounds like you would prefer it if the housing activity was kind of integrated into the survey.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Um,
then,
I
yeah,
also felt the same way Linda did about 5 times. I have to do this 5 times. That was
Mhm.
like, oh no, that made no sense.
sure.
Well, what, so can
So,
I ask,
yeah.
so I have a question about that. So we've gone down the path of breaking the town up into 5 areas. That's what we kind of the model that we've been working towards.
Mhm.
Um, and I think we did that because we wanted to make sure that people had an opportunity to potentially distribute growth or distribute the type of growth,
Mhm.
depending on the area. Um, so we'd need to create the opportunity to be able to provide that. If you don't want to go through 5 times, are there a number of questions that apply to everything, and then you could pick where you want to see the growth?
Or
How would you consolidate it for those who think it's too long or too complicated?
so maybe just make one, that's tough, but maybe make one checklist and then have a box that you could fill in under, like, to which areas are these strategies most applicable? And you don't have
Mhm.
to answer, or you could say, I think it's 1, 2, and 4.
Yeah, or you could pick a couple of areas in the beginning and answer the questions for those areas with the assumption that this is where you think change should be directed. Maybe, I don't know. And then we would be worried about getting representation for all the 5 different areas, because what if everybody picks the same 2 areas to talk about? But
Well,
I don't know what the
that's what I was
answer is.
thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to get data across the whole spectrum of Brookline, and I think really, I didn't find it too much at all as far as, you know, the 5 sections. You know, if we were gonna try to get good data for each section, I think people who are taking the survey, I mean, I didn't find it taxing at all.
Really?
There
Yeah,
could be a way to simplify it though, because you're doing the same thing 5 times. If you want, certain things, you could pick the strategy and then underneath each strategy, click the areas that you want to apply it to. Right? Then you're only doing things for the number of strategies that we have. Versus
Mhm.
right now it's 5 times the number of strategies, right?
Yeah, 10
So
strategies that you pick
how many,
from.
yeah, so if
5
you flipped
areas.
it and you said, additional bike lanes or additional commercial area, where would you like to see that? And you can pick the areas that you want. I don't know. It's hard for me to know how valuable it's going to be until I see the results.
I know.
And the scary thing is if we get it wrong, we don't have another opportunity. So
If people don't want to answer that area because it becomes too much, then they just don't answer it. I mean, there's going to be those people, regardless of what we have on the survey, they're not going to follow it 100%,
well, the problem is unless you randomize which area gets asked first, the last 2 areas are the ones that aren't going to get any information.
Mm.
Right?
Richard, let me
people are
ask
going to
you.
go. They're going to bail after the second one. I can't do this
Exactly.
again.
Richard, did you really answer differently based on 5 different areas? Did you really focus on it's this area and this is what I think about that area?
Well, if you think about it, I mean, just on mobility, right? So, I'm kind of like focusing on that. Town shuttle services, right? Desperately needed for South Brookline, probably North Brookline, you're not thinking of it because you got the T going right down Beacon Street. Parking management, South Brookline, that just doesn't even
Well,
an
so
issue
you're
in South
saying
Brookline.
yes. You were
So I'm
able
saying,
to,
yeah, so
yeah.
different sections on mobility, there's, some are going to be similar, but, shuttle parking management, bicycle infrastructure, is town-wide. But I think, parking management is more of obviously a North Brookline challenge versus South Brookline challenge, and then, they're looking for a transit improvement versus parking management, in South Brookline and vice versa in North Brookline.
Yeah, except that if you talk about like seniors, that then transit options are important town-wide, not just in South Brookline.
Right, and I'm just saying in general, I'm not saying that, what I'm saying is the right answer, but there is some parking is one obvious thing. You don't have an issue with parking in South Brookline, obviously an obvious challenge in North Brookline, and there'll be something different in housing and open space, open space in South Brookline, there's plenty of it, to some degree, because of Lars Anderson, the Wallet Hill Cemetery, and Skyline Park, and the golf course. Those are huge pieces of property, but you don't have that in North Brooklines. So, I just think each section is going to have different characteristics that we're definitely want to collect data on. And I think those people who feel like it's too long, they're going to do what they're going to do. But I think people who are taking it are going to want to be impactful to each of the sections. I
Did
think
you
it's
look at
valid.
did you look at the panels before? Because the survey directs you to look back at the panels that we've all seen a couple times now, but I'm having a hard time imagining Joe Q Public doing that and absorbing that and spending the time. I mean, I'm like really into this stuff, right? And I didn't want to spend the time. It just, anyway,
That's a problem then.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
What's Jake? Did they have like an estimated time as far
It
as like
said
with the layout?
15 to 30 minutes. It said the survey will take you 15 to 30 minutes.
I think it's more 15 as far as going through this survey.
Yeah, my one concern with clumping them all together is that it no longer aligns with the in-person activity,
Right.
which would unintentionally give additional weight to those who are participating in person.
Yeah.
Well, why don't
But I
we,
thought Paul brought up a good point as far as can the survey rotate the sections? I don't know, or it has to be all formatted in the same order all the time.
I believe it's formatted the same way.
Yeah, you have to be
So-
able to
No.
tally the answers.
yeah, so maybe the first step is, can the number of options be reduced, right? Jake, can you put up
the survey or?
Yeah, just like if you could
Yeah.
just look at one of them, it might be helpful. That
Absolutely.
Well, I kind of like whosever idea it was like picking your strategies and saying where they should apply.
yeah,
It
It's
just
just-
sort of flipping it. And then you're not applying it everywhere, and you don't have to do the anti-strategy for the
Right.
ones where it doesn't apply.
right. So you could pick the strategies that are important to you and then apply it to the areas that you think they belong, and then you're done.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, how long are we gonna cover on this? I just got another meeting and I can push it back, but
I think we'll be wrapping up shortly, I assume.
I'm assuming the goal is 2. We're out of here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jay, could you scroll down just a little bit? Okay, so each one of these areas has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 to 7 options.
Hmm.
It's a lot.
It was overwhelming.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, I liked the effort to try to show what the area is about. I know we did talk about that, and I'm seeing the fruition of that here with the pictures and a little bit of a description. I don't know. I still think it's very, are you talking Beacon Street or are you talking, the cottage farm? It's very different.
there's four segments, right?
5.
Housing, mobility, open space, and commercial.
4, yes. And
Yeah.
then 5 areas.
Yeah, 5 yeah.
Jake, and is the thing programmed to limit you on checking stuff, or can people just check away?
I did hit a limit last time. After 10, I did hit a limit, yes.
See, when I saw this and it was simply talking about the number of units, I thought, well, what happened to the size of the building? What happened
Yeah.
to the cumulative impact of 5 of these mid-density versus 3 of the you know what I mean? That whole trade-off exercise that's baked into the housing activity.
I'd shared that with Jake as well. That instead of like people don't know what a 4 to 6 unit building is, it could be 6 stories high if it's only 1 unit wide, right?
Right.
Floor through. Jake, a concern I have here is that I'm just going to think about my area. I
Mhm.
want existing housing preservation in precinct 1.
Mhm.
I want lower housing development. I also want mid housing development and maybe a higher one down
Mhm.
on the edge of Boston. Certainly want dedicated affordable housing, and I'm in a commercial area that's also residential. I want mixed use. I just checked every box.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so then we've got nothing meaningful out of that.
Yeah.
That's my fear.
So we could make it a drop-down list and say choose 1 or choose 2, like housing, and then you drop down and you might say, well, I want housing preservation, but I think we need some more low-density housing, and click that.
Yeah, I think that every area of town, you could check those boxes for everything.
I think
Mhm.
you might be
And
right.
it all
Right.
depends on where.
And it depends. It depends. I mean, that's why I think there's town-wide strategies, right? There's strategies that you want to employ, right? And I think we've listed them here.
Yeah.
Because this is in our tool set for the whole town, right?
Hmm.
And then the question is, where do we have capacity to be able to handle
Accommodate.
development,
Yeah.
right? Accommodate development, and where do people want to see it, right?
And how much? I mean, I think
and
that,
how much is important too.
Yeah.
We'd have to figure out how to get that, but
yeah.
it may be. So that's my concern is this survey currently they're gonna check the boxes for every area and say, yep, we want that. And
Yeah.
because I think that's what if you go down to the commercial one real quick,
Mhm.
Jake, commercial and retail,
Mhm.
you can say you want all these things.
Mhm.
Right. So in St. Mary's, we've got neighborhood retail, we got destination retail, we got restaurants and cafes, we got a little bit of office space, that skinny building, hospitality and meeting space. Well, just we've got the hotel up there before Coolidge Corner. We've got the Brookline Arts Center. I just checked every box, and because I'm in precinct 1 with St. Mary's.
Mhm.
Um, And as someone who is in South Brookline and lives in a neighborhood, maybe they won't check these because they're not going to have restaurants and cafes and, at next to the country club. Maybe you would get different responses from them. I'd be surprised if they filled it out. But anyway, that's my feedback. I'm a little concerned that this is going to be check, check, check for all areas because these
Okay,
strategies
yeah.
are things that we're going to apply everywhere.
Mhm.
And I think I think it would be helpful to know from the community understanding where constrained development is, what the trade-off is. Where would you like to see development? If you want to see more development along the transportation corridors, we can do that. It means the train's going to be at more capacity. Our, walking and cycling infrastructure is going to be more used.
Mhm.
The parks are going to be more crowded, right? That's what
Yep.
we're going to have. And maybe the buildings will be taller. That's the trade-off. And people may say, yeah, I want that so I can go out to South Brookline and have the green space. I can escape. And it takes me, 8-10 minutes to get there. Other people may say, I'd rather see all that happen in South Brookline and not make any more changes to North Brookline.
Mhm.
So somehow we got to get at this to get information that's going to be helpful,
Meaningful.
informative to us.
Yeah.
Right now, I think we have come up with some strategies from all the work
Mhm.
that we've been doing, from what we've heard from the community, and the community is going to validate those strategies. And I don't think we're going to get much direction as to where those strategies are applied right now.
And I don't think they're thinking about the other questions that we want to be thinking about, the capacity questions and the how to be intentional about getting what we want and all of that. That's not part
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah. So I'm going to need to go in a few minutes because I got to get
Yep.
the kids. But let me just say this.
Mhm.
This project isn't going to go on forever. It does have to come to an end. We need to be able to have this next engagement be meaningful, meaning that it gives us information that we don't currently have so that we can finish the recommendations.
Mhm.
So we need to really figure out what is the gap between what we think we need and what we have. And those are the questions that we should be asking in whatever format. I'm not saying this format's bad. I just think it's going to elicit check, check, check all the way across. But we don't get to go back to the well, and we can't keep dragging this thing on. So we're going to need to figure this out pretty soon.
Mhm. Yep.
That make sense, Jake?
Yes, and just one final thought. Would it change your opinion if it was only select one or two from each category? Rather than 10 from any category or from all categories?
Yes, that would help.
Yeah, or if you prioritize them, right? If you
Yeah.
could somehow prioritize them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or pick 3 would be good. But in my area, I want to make sure we don't lose our historic houses and cottage farms. So I'm going to check.
Right.
That's all these things aren't equal to me,
Mhm.
Right.
right? I weight them differently. Maybe we could get at that somehow.
Yeah, maybe tops 2 or 3 and also prioritize them.
Yeah.
Rank,
Yeah. If you had to pick 3 things for this area, what would they be?
yeah, and you want to rank them. So which is your top priority? Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
rank them. Or you
And
could
I
just
think you can even mix the categories up.
Hmm.
I mean,
could
it
see
doesn't
that
have to all
working,
be, like, I think this should be targeted for destination retail. That,
Yeah.
above anything else, even.
Yeah. So maybe, Jake, it's, if we do keep this number, just say pick up to 3
Yep.
or pick up to 2.
2.
That's
I
it.
think 3 is too many.
I think
Okay,
3
2.
is too many too.
You get 2. Pick 2 things here. Then they're gonna have to make choices.
Yeah.
Right? That's what they're gonna do. And
I
I'm
think
not
that could-
sure the number of the units, 1 to 3
Yeah,
units.
it's not getting at the scale
It
question.
might be better to have maybe be scale. People don't think about how many units are in a building. They think about how big the building is.
Sure.
Mhm.
Right? Is it a 2-story building or is it a 10-story building?
Mhm.
Right? I don't think we're here. Chestnut Hill West, people aren't griping about how many units are. They're talking about how tall the buildings are. If the buildings went down 10 floors, no one would complain.
And if there's a 1 unit, it could be a gigantic single family house,
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, and a
And it
mid
might be beautiful if they put that in my area with a pool. They invite everybody over to. I'd be supportive. But
and the change in the low, mid, and high could be how big is the footprint, not how tall it is. So,
Right.
you know, I don't like those full block buildings that have the uniform facade. I mean, that's a negative. So anyway,
Okay, we're at 2 o'clock. This is
Okay.
very helpful.
Wasn't Jake? I feel like we're
yeah, I
torturing
feel
Oh,
like
you.
no,
we're
no,
coming in at the
no.
last minute going,
I'm
"Ah."
glad we're doing this now rather than
Yeah.
next week. So
That's true. That's true.
we're
See
we're
that,
in good
Jake?
shape.
The glass
It's a
is always
positive
half
for
full.
everything. That's right.
Jake's glass is always half full.
That's a good resolution for the new year.
Yeah. Okay, well, I will revisit the script and send you a revised version 3, I guess, and we'll
Okay.
see how that one sits with you all.
All right. Thanks
And
so
then
much,
one of
Jake.
us can like practice it in front of a mirror and see if it's feasible.
Yes.
No, no, it's not, it's not a bad idea.
It's not
to
crazy.
Revise it and actually record it, Jake, and send it to us so we can listen to it,
Okay.
All right. We'll see you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
AJ.
Bye.